Ambition but laziness at work. Watch the video till the end to learn the real way to get out of this trap and take action. Why can't we start? Do you have big dreams floating before your eyes? Do you see yourself at the pinnacle of success? But when it comes time to actually work towards achieving that goal, you stop. You just wait. Calm your mind and say, everything will change from tomorrow. But when that tomorrow comes, you are just as lazy as before. Believe me, you are not alone in this problem. There is a huge class of people around us who are just like you, who are very ambitious but extremely lazy, who are stuck in one place despite having thousands of ideas in their heads. And the most difficult thing is that you know very well in your subconscious that you are capable of doing much more. You are not able to move yourself forward in any way. But remember, this does not prove that you are a bad person. It does not mean that you have any lack of talent. It is basically some patterns in your brain that have been formed over time. And the good news is that it is possible to change what has been formed before. But before that, you have to understand what is really happening inside your mind. You have to see why you have become like this today. And then you have to decide whether you are really ready to do something about it or not. The dopamine cycle. This psychological trap is not a reflection of your character or a sign that you are failing at life. Instead, it is a biological complication where your brain's basic survival instincts are accidentally working against your biggest dreams. Whenever you encounter a difficult task, your brain does not see growth, it sees a threat. In fact, our brain works in a very strange way. Whenever we go to do a difficult task or study, our brain perceives it as a big danger. Just like people get scared when they see a tiger, the brain thinks that this difficult task is also a threat. Then it looks for easy ways to save itself, such as scrolling Facebook, Instagram, or watching videos on YouTube. Although this dopamine gives us temporary peace, it is actually ruining our future in the long run. Whenever you think that, I will do the work tomorrow, not today, you are actually training your brain to escape. Your brain is trying to save you from pain, but as a result, you are getting stuck in a cycle of laziness and guilt. Remember, the discomfort or reluctance you feel when starting work is not something to be afraid of. It is just a signal that you are stepping out of your comfort zone. If you learn to ignore this feeling instead of being afraid of it, you will be able to overcome laziness and reach your goal. Fear of being perfect. We spend our lives waiting for a perfect version of ourselves that doesn't exist. We think we'll wake up one morning and find ourselves transformed with a clear head and a magic formula for success. People who have achieved great things in life often make us think they have some special innate talent that we don't have. But the truth is, it's not surprising at all. It's very common. Motivation is a feeling that, like any other emotion, is fleeting. It's like the weather. It's nice to be out in the sun, but you can't survive with a mindset that says you'll only work if the weather is nice. You don't always need to feel good to get where you want to go. You need a system or method. You need a routine that will keep you going even when you're tired, bored, or reluctant. Success is the sum of the small, repetitive decisions you make every day when you're alone. The biggest obstacle in your path is probably your insistence on being perfect. You have a beautiful and perfect plan for your life, and you may not even start anything because you are afraid of ruining that perfect idea. You console yourself by saying that you are preparing or waiting for the right time. But if you look deeper, you will realize that it is actually just a clever way to deceive yourself. This desire to be perfect is actually nothing more than fear, dressed up in a beautiful dress. It is a shield that we use for the fear of being ordinary. You are afraid that if you fail even with your best efforts, you will have to accept that you are not as talented as you thought. So, without starting, you keep yourself in this false peace that I would have succeeded if I had tried. You feel safer living in a dream world than in the hard struggle of reality, but this security is actually a cage that has been keeping you stuck in one place for years. It is very important to change your thinking about failure. Most people think that failure is the opposite of success, but this idea is completely wrong. The opposite of success is stagnation, that is, doing nothing, learning nothing, and standing still. When you fail, you actually gain the information or lessons you need to succeed. Behind every successful person you admire is a history of countless failures and embarrassing mistakes. The only reason they are where they are today is because they dared to start working before they were fully prepared. They did not hesitate to make mistakes or make a fool of themselves in front of everyone before they became proficient. They did not sit down for a map, but started walking and created their own path as they walked. So stop worrying excessively about what will happen at the end and focus on what you will do in the next 5 minutes. Stop worrying about being perfect and just focus on starting the work. There is no such thing as a perfect moment, but there is a real thing called momentum of work, and it is created only when you decide to take your first messy step. Effective strategies for change. Most days, motivation shows up late, if at all. Truth hits differently when you realize change won't knock loudly one morning. A fresh calendar page won't fix what consistency can slowly rebuild. Energy follows motion. It does not arrive before. That urge to pause, to drift into distractions, often masks where progress hides. Growth slips in quietly while you're arguing with yourself about starting. Action taken despite discomfort shapes more than any burst of enthusiasm ever could. The version of you that waits for readiness never arrives. What matters most appears only after moving forward without permission. Heavy feelings of delay lose power once movement becomes a habit. Ignoring that inner hesitation while starting tasks teaches the mind how to face difficulty. This builds something similar to a disciplined muscle. Much like actual muscles, mental toughness expands when pushed through repetition and discomfort. With enough repetition, this steadiness proves far more dependable than the unstable pull of motivation. Working solely when desire strikes leads to irregular results. Yet showing up simply because the moment has arrived turns effort into something unbreakable. Most times, carrying the weight of changing everything at once just weighs you down. Staring at something huge makes it seem unreachable, like a wall too steep to scale. That kind of dread freezes motion before movement even begins. The longer you delay because of that freeze, the larger the job grows in your mind. Skip reaching the top on day one. Try doing something tiny, so basic it hardly counts as effort, and see how easily it fits into your day. Start small, like promising to open your book for 5 minutes. Pick up one piece of paper near your chair, then another later. At first, it does not matter how well you do, only that you show up again tomorrow. Success hides in showing up, not in big wins. Each time you finish something minor on purpose, you change what you believe about yourself. The version of you that follows through begins to feel real. Skipping stops feeling normal. Doing the thing becomes familiar. Little victories repeated day after day slowly feed a steady kind of belief in yourself, so subtle it slips past fear unnoticed. Almost without warning, those tiny actions gather speed like pebbles rolling downhill, becoming routines that quietly redraw the path ahead, one unforced move at a time. Later in the day, self-control tends to fade. Imagine a device running low on charge. When night comes, saying no gets harder. The mind leans toward what feels light, often ending up idle. Rather than pushing through force of thought alone, notice where you spend your hours. What lies nearby shapes how we act. Focus slips when phones sit close. Cluttered spaces add noise without warning. Small things around us pull choices one way or another. Most top performers did not start life with extra willpower or toughness compared to you. Instead, they shaped their spaces more wisely. Their setup quietly pulls them toward concentration without effort. To shift your habits, build your setting on purpose instead of letting it control you. Move your phone far away, into another room entirely. Remove distractions from where you sit to think. Let only necessary items stay visible around you. A tidy area tuned for doing things makes the beginning feel light, almost natural. Smooth movement happens when distractions stop grinding against progress. Your later days take shape from routines made now, because what you set up follows through. Build habits that help rather than block. Later, you will live inside structures formed by today's choices. Most days, progress looks like showing up when everything inside says no. Feelings whisper loudly, yet they do not get the final say. When exhaustion hits, motion still matters. Even on blank days, work finds a way through. Sitting down to begin, while every bone resists, is how change quietly grows. Each small act chips away at who you used to be. This process takes time since outcomes usually come slowly. Not every shift shows up fast, sometimes not even after days pass by. It is the steady pattern of tiny actions shaping how things turn out. Forget quick fixes or sudden breakthroughs. Pay attention instead to little habits available today. Maybe it is making space first thing in the morning, taking one slow sip of water, or flipping open a page just long enough to catch an idea. The base grows from moments like these. Once getting used to beginning narrow and guiding surroundings carefully, waiting stops being necessary, having quietly become different without announcement. Harsh reality and a new beginning. Easy to slip into pretending busy work counts. Hours vanish watching pep talks online, gathering advice, flipping through tales of big wins, calling it self-improvement. Truth? Often nothing more than polished delay tactics hiding real effort. The brain rewards each new idea with a spark of feeling good. Seems like progress piles up, yet feet stay planted on one spot in a room full of books. Fact remains. You likely have what it takes right now to move at least once. Another list promising victory won't help nearly as much as silence and motion instead. Most people trip up on one thing, chasing flawless results. Starting feels impossible without an exact blueprint, top gear, or total clarity. Yet, holding off for some ideal instant. That's standing by tracks where no train runs. Life rarely lines up clean. Those skilled folks you notice now, they weren't born sharp. Awkward starts, foggy steps, and tripping forward mark their early days. Errors piled up. Early versions flopped hard. First tries often stung with awkwardness. Starting out clumsy. That's how every real attempt begins. One single hour doing beats 10 spent listening to others explain it. Most times, it's us who judge ourselves the hardest. When one day feels off or doing nothing takes over completely, shame sneaks in fast. Names like lazy or not enough stick easily, then sap's strength is needed to restart. Starting fresh begins only when forgiveness shows up instead. Start again if the last day didn't go well. Picture how you'd speak to someone dear doing their best, gentle yet honest. Letting mistakes fade helps lift weight off your mind, make space for what comes now. Labels like lazy don't fit who you are. They stick when routines drift wrong over time, because old patterns slip away once new choices take root slowly each day. Most days start without fireworks. Your move shapes what happens next, nobody else's. Crossing the space between here and there takes steady steps, nothing fancy. Big peaks look scary, ignore them. 5-year dreams, they wait too long. Start somewhere, grab a pen, turn on your computer, because movement begins with motion. Big changes come not from dramatic acts, but from quiet actions repeated day after day. Open the notebook instead of scrolling. Say yes to starting, even if it feels pointless. What seems dull today might matter more than you think tomorrow.